on the Fan. All right, Mike in Harrison, New York. What's up, Mike?
Hey, Mike, thanks for taking the call.
Yeah.
This is probably the last time I'm calling. I just wanted to say, thank you for everything.
Thank you. My pleasure. What's up?
So I think it's probably safe to assume, I think you probably agree with me, most people would, that the Pats are probably going to get to another Super Bowl this year.
I don't think it's automatic, but I do think obviously they are the logical favorites. I don't think they have an unbeatable team, but I do think that they're probably more often than not going to get there. Yes.
And I know you mentioned Minnesota before, talking about that you didn't want to see Keenum up against them.
I don't like the idea of him playing in that kind of game.
What about the Saints? You give them any chance against the Pats in the Super Bowl?
I think they'd have a
That'd be a great match.
Listen, I think they have a better chance in the game only because of the quarterback matchup. But
what team in the NFC gives them the best chance of beating the Pats? Is it the Saints? Who would you say? I don't think any of the young teams like the Rams or the Eagles are ready
I
yet.
actually believe it's a team that might not make the playoffs.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's Atlanta.
Ooh. Yeah.
And I just think that there's something missing with that team. You know how many close games they've lost this year? Think about how they can't get that one touchdown they need in these games this year. And you know how sometimes in a season, something is just not there. Now, they play this Thursday night, season completely on the line. When they play New Orleans this Thursday night, they have to win the game. Forget it. They have no choice. There's not an if, and, or a but. They must win the game. But look at this season. They opened the season with 3 wins. They lost to Buffalo by 6 points. They were inside the 10-yard line with the ball and lost the game. They lost to Miami by 3 points at home. They were up 17-0. Again, had the ball deep in Miami territory late, lost the game. Now, they lost to New England soundly, 23-7. They lost to Carolina 20-17 again. Same situation late in the game. They beat Dallas, they beat Seattle, they beat Tampa. They lose to Minnesota by 5 points. So they've lost by 5, by 3, by 3. I mean, so they've had these games, except for the loss to New England. Every game has come down to the final plays. Now, the other thing is they've blown a lot of leads, including a 17-0 lead at home to Miami, which is really hard to fathom. It really is. Rich in Long Island, what's up, Rich?
What's going on, Mike?
What's happening?
I'm a season ticket holder for the Giants.
Right.
I'm not trying to say anything bad about Eli. He's consistent. He's an Iron Man. But obviously for the Hall of Fame argument, he's being judged on the Super Bowls. How much of those Super Bowls in 7 and 11 were because of Eli, or were they because of the Strahan, the Umiura?
Well, listen,
football. Just put all those quarterbacks on the ground.
Football's not won by one player. You got to play both ways.
Right.
But remember this: in the game against the undefeated team, he went 9 for 14 in the fourth quarter for 152 yards and 2 touchdowns, twice bringing his team from behind against the unbeaten Pats. That's a great fourth quarter. That's not a good fourth quarter. That's a great fourth quarter. So, I mean, he had a good fourth quarter in the other game. So, to me, the fact that they didn't score a lot of points, well, if you're going to take away close Super Bowls from people, we'd be taking a lot of Super Bowls away from Terry Bradshaw. We'd be taking Super Bowls away from Tom Brady. We'd be taking Super Bowls away from a lot of guys who won and may have only made 2 or 3 big plays in the game. So, I mean, that's not how it works. So, I mean, Eli was the MVP both games. He made big plays in both games, whether it was hitting Manningham in the second Super Bowl win, whether it was, making a play against a zero blitz to Plaxico Burress. I mean, whatever it might be, he was there to make the big play in the big game, which is what he's done for his career. And if you're going to say, well, it's his Super Bowls, could he get in without those 2 Super Bowls? He could not. But he also has 50,000 yards passing and 300 touchdown passes, which means he's played a lot of football. He's also won well over 100 football games. Not easy to win well over 100 football games. He's won 110 as a starter, and he's won 8 in the postseason. He's won 118 NFL games. That's a lot of games to win in the NFL. When 10 games is a lot, winning 120 games is a lot. Michelle in New York City. What's up, Michelle?
Hi, Mike. I just wanted to thank you so much for the 30 years that you've been with us.
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure to finally get to speak to you, my first time talking to you.
Oh, good, thanks.
And my husband's been a 30-year listener.
Oh, great.
And he's going to miss you so much.
Thank you.
I wanted to just touch base about Eli Manning. I can't believe how they're just throwing him under the bus. He's done so much for the team. And that's all I really wanted to say, Mike. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I wish you all the best.
Thank you very much for calling. Appreciate it very much. And I don't think everyone's throwing him under the bus. I think, what happens is that, people both ways, good and bad, get very emotional about their quarterback. That's part of it. He gets too much credit and too much blame. Abe in Brooklyn, what's up, Abe? Yes,
hey, what's up, Mike?
What's happening?
Hi. First of all, I'd like to thank you for all your years. I'm a 19-year-old student that's in school, and I could tell you there are countless days that I ditched class to listen to your show, and you took me out of a lot of tough days that I really thank you for, and I'll really miss you.
Thank you.
I want to touch on the Knicks for a moment. How do you see them managing without Hardaway for the next unforeseeable future, and what do you think they have to do to be able to keep on winning without him?
To keep on winning, they have to start winning. They've only won 2 games this year, so they got a lot of winning to do. So, they have a lot to turn around here, and not a lot of players to do it with. They're very beat up. They have a lot of players hurt. So there's a lot of work to be done here. There really is. Pablo joins us. What's up, Pablo?
Hey, Mike. How are you?
Good. What's up?
Real quick, Mike. Couldn't agree with you more on Case Keenum. The kid's obviously having a great year, but his coach won't even commit to him outside of a week-to-week basis.
Listen, you got to give him great credit, Pablo, on what he's accomplishing this year. All I'm saying is, the Super Bowl can turn better quarterbacks than him into pumpkins. It can happen very easily. It's just a hard sell, especially against Bill Belichick and his defense and preparation and everything else. And you know what? It'd make a heck of a story, but it's just a hard sell. That's all. And I do think they're going to be a very prominent team. I think Minnesota's going to play probably in the NFC title game. I'd be surprised if they don't, the way the season's going. They're playing really well. Sean in Selden, what's up, Sean?
Hey, Mike, what's going on?
What's happening?
I wanted to make a quick point on Eli, and then ask you a question about Green Bay. But Eli, just incredible to go through that many seasons in New York and just never waver, never throw anybody under the bus, always stay positive, just every interview, every post-game, just really incredible to just never slip up, not once, I don't think.
Absolutely.
But, just incredible. But my question was, with Green Bay, is he going to be back?
Week 15.
What kind of a chance do you give them?
I think it's risky to bring him back. First of all, they can't bring him back till week 15, which means
would
one
you
more.
Bring them back if they're still in the
if
hunt?
they're 7-6,
you gotta, right?
If they're 7-6, if they lose this week to Cleveland, and they won't, but if they did, you wouldn't bring him back. But if he comes back at 7-6, 10-6, he does have a remote chance. The problem is right now you have 2 teams with 8 wins, so it's not like and they don't have any games with those teams. So if
they lose this week, you won't see Rodgers.
I wouldn't. Now listen, that's me talking. I would not bring Rodgers back if he if they lost this week. Now odds are going to tell you that they're not going to lose this week because, and then they have a game with Minnesota in Green Bay, and then the last game of the season they play.
Yeah, I'll tell you with Rodgers. They have any kind of mathematical chance. I guess you got to put that guy on the field.
I would agree with that, but I just don't know if they will have one. That's the big question mark. Is whether or not, and then they play Minnesota and Detroit the last 2 weeks of the season. At 7-6, they probably will bring them back. But remember, it's still going to be a hard shot for them to get to the very hard for them to get to the playoffs this year because Seattle is 8-4 and Carolina is 8-4, and that's not even counting Atlanta, which is 7-5. Green Bay 6-6. Miami's Cowboys are 6-6. So it's a long way to the playoffs. Eddie in New Jersey, what's up, Eddie?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Good.
First, thanks for all your years, man. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Hey, what really bothers me today and yesterday was, why are they allowing Gronkowski to like, I don't know what you call it, challenge his suspension? He should have gotten 3, if not just 1.
Well, he always has the right, no matter what suspension he gets, he always has the right to appeal. I mean, and they've already heard it. Oh, so Mon said they already heard it, so they already upheld it. Now, remember, he did not want to fool around with the Pittsburgh game. That was not going to happen. So they were only going to let him appeal it if he got a speedy trial or a speedy hearing, because they did not want him missing the Pittsburgh game next week. They would much rather have him missing the Miami game. Now, remember one thing. Tom Brady has had problems in one building. It's been in Miami. That's been the one place where he has had, but I don't think this Dolphin team can give him trouble. I really don't. But they will play without Gronk this week, and then next week they're at Pittsburgh. Then they close Buffalo and Jets at home. Dan in Manhattan, what's up, Dan?
Mike, curiously awaiting your next act. Best wishes to you.
Thank you.
Mike, despite the outcry, I feel like not enough was made of how cavalierly they ended Eli's streak, only to put him right back in. It seems like it was, almost like it was done to end the streak. I know that's probably not the case, but it just seems so thoughtless. And from a guy like John Mara, I feel like he hasn't taken enough of a hit for this, that he let it happen. What do you think about that?
I don't think this streak is that overwhelmingly. I mean, listen, it's important. It's not overwhelmingly important. I understand it's important to Eli. They could have handled it differently. I agree. A lot of people think John should have stepped in and ended it right away. He could have. So I think that's a fair. I know that they don't want to do that, though. But it's funny. You got rid of him because it turned to such a chaotic situation. See, John didn't want the visual this week. I've told you many times how the Maras don't like visuals. And this week would have been an incredibly poor visual if they had stuck with Geno Smith and benched Eli, because there was going to be a display for Eli here that was going to be enormous. So that was going to be a big problem. And they chose not to have that visual, even though because they had already decided that the coach and the general manager were gone. Shuli and Rockland, what's up?
Yeah, hey, Mike. I just want to say thank you for your show.
Thank you. What's happening?
I look forward to it every day.
Thank you.
I know you don't like talking about people, the Giants trading OBJ, but what could they get if they were to package Eli with Odell? What sort of value can they get if they really want to start over,
Yeah, well, I mean, those kind of things those kind of package deals don't happen in this league. That would be, that would be bringing back quite a heist for some team, but that's, it's just not going to happen. I mean, it would just be very difficult. Firstly, you can't do it in season. Secondly, you have to wait till next year to do it, but it's just a very hard thing to do. It'd be a very expensive package. Back after this.
Hey.